Hello guys, today in this video we are going to discuss about the novel entitled Lord of Flies written by William Golding. Guys, now first of all introduction to the author. William Golding was born on 19 September 1911 in England. His father was a schoolmaster and his mother was an active worker in the women liberation movement. Golding graduated from Branislaus College, Oxford in 1934. He published a small volume of poems but did not write anything striking for the next 4 years. He joined the Royal Navy in the Second World War. For some time, he was attached to a naval research establishment. Afterwards, he became a lieutenant and was placed in command of a rock launching ship. He served the Navy with distinction and took part in the landing on Normandy, France in 1994. Evidently, Golding's wartime experiences played an important part in helping him to form a new view of life. After the war was over, Golding went back to his teaching profession. His first novel, Lord of Flies, 1954, received a mixed reaction, but soon it becomes a quite popular. It came to be regarded by all critics as a work of art. Steve Smith wrote in The Observer, Lord of Flies is a desperate book, something quite out of the ordinary. A full-length movie has also been made based on his book. Guys, Lord of Flies, published in the year 1954, earned him a great name. His genius flowed richly in his later works, which came in rapid succession. His other great novel, The Inheritors, was published in 1955. It was followed by Pincher Martin in 1956. In 1958, he published a play, The Brass Butterfly, Free Fall, and The Spire are his other famous novels. The former was published in 1959 and the latter in 1964. In 1983, Golding was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature, which is given a writer not for one particular volume but for the body of his works. His works are of great merit. Guys, now introduction to the novel. Guys, Golding's novel Lord of Flies is a deliberate attempt by Golding to bring Ballantyne's Carol Island up to date, to probe deeper than Ballantine into the recesses of the human heart. It is a novel of boyish adventure in its external framework, and Golding has obviously borrowed the external from Ballantyne's Carol Island. Published almost a century back in 1857, Ballantine deals with the adventures of three English boys marooned on an island. J.R. Wyeth's Swiss Family Robinson is a familiar work, but the story in Golding's hand is never stereotype nor stale but has an originality of design and development of plot. We are kept thrilled and in suspense from scene to scene. The various incidents in novel lead to a stunning climax, and unconsciously we will cry out. This is a story, this is reality. The reader becomes more and more aware of Golding's understanding of boyish character, the relation between the older boys and the younger. A whole set of boys are displayed before our eyes, and we see in them several familiar types: the fair sporting Ralph, the scheming, vengeful Jack, the simple, intelligent Piggy, the philosophic, institutive Simon, the timid, frightened Percival, and many others. Golding, being a schoolmaster, must have met all these types in the course of his teaching career, and now he presents them as characters in the novel. As a novelist of artistic value, Golding also excels here as a portrayer of nature. There is a vivid description of the coral island, brightened by the sun and the stars and the moon, the beach, the blue ocean, the calm lagoon, the swaying palm trees, and the fruit trees linger on in our imagination long after we have read the novel. But the novel conveys a theme, a message which goes beyond the simple story of boyish adventure. This is the story of man, the development of human society in reverse order. The boys had reached the island from a civilized society, but gradually they fall back to savagery and primitive way of life. We find them becoming victims of primary passions like anger, revenge, pride, and fear. It gives us the lesson that civilized man can easily descend to barbarism. Jack Mardew seeks to appease the beast by offering is a part of their kill, the head of a soap. The very same Jack who had resented killing in the beginning because of the enormity of the knife descending and cutting into living flesh because of the unbearable blood, ends up by advocating, hunting, and murdering his own fellow beings. The boy's behavior on the island has been interpreted variously. Some see it as a parable of man stripped of sanctions, customs, and civilizations. Others see it as a tract about demo- democracy and anarchy. There are still others who relate into the story of the fall of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. The world of the boys in the island makes us realize that good and evil exist side by side in man's heart. Golding derives home to us his philosophy and that the world should restore principles in an unprincipled world, restore belief to a world of disbelievers. This is the message of the novel. Golding wrote the novel in the post war era when there was much misunderstanding and disbelief among the nations of the world. The title of the novel may be traced back to the Jewish hierarchy of demons, where Beelzebub is called Lord of Lies. He is supposed to be the chief representative of false gods. The title is most appropriate because Golding tries to convey the moral that the world is not a reasonable place and that all power corrupts and that one has to live with the darkness of man's heart. The novel ends with a sobbing scene of boys gathering before the English naval officer. Golding rides in the midst of them with filthy body, matted hair, and unwiped nose, Ralph wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart, and the fall through the air of the true wise friend called Piggy. What we realize is that once the restraint of civilization are removed, the Lord of the Flies or evil begins to rule over us. The grown ups are engaged in a deadly warfare, and the children on the island move into an open conflict. The majority of them turn into savages and worships the Lord of Lights or evil. Guys, now the chief characters of this novel. First of all, Ralph. He is a fair boy of 12. He is elected as the chief of the boys. He works for their help. He holds meeting and forms rules. He feels worried at the savage activities of the boys. He is the hero of the novel. Second character is Piggy. Piggy is the fat boy incapable of manual work. He can think logically. He has a good sense of reason. He suffers from asthma. He wears spectacles. Ralph loves him most. Ralph laments over his death very much when he is killed in a fight. Now, third character is Jack Merridew. He is the leader of the party called Choir. Later, his choir turns into a hunting party. He makes his own group. All the boys join the group except Ralph and Piggy. He acts as a savage. He defies Ralph's authority. He becomes the chief himself. He grows thirsty of Ralph's blood, who is miraculously saved. Now, fourth character is Sam and Eric. Sam and Eric are the twins. Combined together, they are called Samneric. They breathe together, they laugh together, they are very strong. Their heads are like bullets. Jack asks them to join the tribe and they do so. Fifth character is Simon. Simon is a boy of the choir of Jack. He is a small, skinny boy. His chin is pointed. He dies a tragic death. Ralph and Piggy regard Jack as their murderer. Morris, the sixth character. He is another choir boy. He is grinning all the time. Seventh character is Roger. He is another boy for the choir. He avoids company and likes to remain alone. Roger, seventh character. He is another boy of the choir. He avoids company and likes to remain alone. Character number 8 is Bill, Robert, Harold, and Henry. All are choir boys of Jack's tribe. They are always busy in hunting pigs under the orders of Jack. They grow perfect savages under Jack's influence. Now, Johnny. Johnny, he is a small boy of about 6. He is sturdy and fair. Percival. He is the smallest child in the story. His full name, according to him, is Percival Wemsey Madison. And he appears pitiable. And the last is Lords of Flies. He is also an important character in the novel. He has been personified. He acts as a school teacher for the misguided children. He laughs at the silliness of the children. Now, guys, themes of the novel. Themes are the fundamental and often universal ideas explored in a literary work. In the novel, following themes have been considered. First of all, human nature. William Golding once said that in writing Lord of Flies, he aimed to trace society's flaws back to their source in human nature by leaving a group of English schoolboys to fend for themselves on a remote jungle island. Golding creates a kind of human nature laboratory in order to examine what happens when the constraints of civilization vanish and raw human nature takes over. In Lord of Flies, Golding argues that human nature, free from the constraints of society, draws people away from reason towards savagery. Now, guys, theme number second is civilization. Although Golding argues that people are fundamentally savage, drawn towards pleasure and violence, human beings have successfully managed to create thriving civilization for thousands of years, so that disapproves Golding's theory about human nature being savage. The famous psychologist Sigmund Freud argued that without the innate human capacity to repress desire, civilization would not exist. In Lord of the Flies, Golding makes a similar argument. He depicts civilization as a whale that, through its rules and laws, masks the evil within every individual. So, even while civilizations thrive, they are merely hiding the beast, they have not destroyed it. Next theme is savagery and the beast. Guys, the beast is a symbol Golding uses to represent the savage impulse laying deep within every human being. Civilization exists to suppress the beast by keeping the natural human desire for power and violence to a minimum. Civilization forces people to act responsibly and rationally, as boys like Piggy and Ralph do in Lord of Flies. Savagery rises when civilization stops suppressing the beast. It is the beast unleashed. Savages not only acknowledge the beast, they thrive on it and worship it like a god. As Jack and his tribe become savages, they begin to believe the beast exists physically. They even leave it offering to win its favor to ensure their protection. Civilization forces people to hide from their darkest impulse to suppress them. Savages surrender to their darkest impulse, which they attribute to the demands of gods who require their obedience. Now, guys, next theme is loss of innocence. As the boys on the island progress from well behaved, orderly children longing for rescue to cruel, bloodthirsty hunters who have no desire to return to civilization, they naturally lose the sense of innocence that they possessed At the beginning of the novel, the penitent savages in chapter 12 who have hunted, tortured, and killed animals and human beings are far cry from the guileless children swimming in the lagoon in chapter 3. But Golding does not portray this loss of innocence as something that is done to the children. Rather, it results naturally from their increasing openness to the innate evil and savagery that has always existed within them. Golding implies that civilization can mitigate but never wipe out the innate evil that exists within all human beings. Now, guys, next theme is spirituality and religion. Most of the boys on the island either hide behind civilization, denying the beast's existence, or took the beast's power by embracing savagery. But in Lord of the Flies, Golding presents an alternative to civilized suppression and beastly savagery. This is a life of religion and spiritual truth seeking in which men look into their own hearts, accept that there is a beast within, and face it squarely. Now, guys, next theme is the weak and the strong. Within the larger battle of civilization and savagery, revenging the boys' community on the island, Lord of Flies also depicts in great detail the relationships and power dynamics between the boys. In particular, the novel shows how boys fight to belong and be respected by the other boys. The main way in which the boys seek his belonging and respect is to appear strong and powerful. And in order to appear strong and powerful, boys give in to the savage instinct to ignore, pick on, mock, or even physically abuse boys who are weaker than them. Over and over, Lord of Flies shows instances where a boy who feels vulnerable will save himself by picking on a weaker boy. So, guys, this is a very beautiful and realistic allegorical novel written by William Golding. You must read it out and hope you will like it. Thank you.